everyone, my name is Harlin and I'm from IBA 4A.
Hello everyone, my name is Bintang galela and I'm from IBA 4A and that's it.
So hello everyone. Today we will talk about the financial ratio or the analysis ratio. So ratio analysis is a method that used to assess and interpret financial statement by calculating and comparing various ratio. This ratio provides meaningful insight to a company financial performance, efficiency, profitability, liquidity, and also solvency. And now we're gonna take a do analysis ratio for PT Excel Axiata Tbk from 2021 and 2022 data. So here is the balance sheet that we take from the website Yahoo Finance, and also we take the income statement, still the same website, we take it from Yahoo Finance. And now we move to the key category of ratio that commonly used in the ratio analysis. First is liquidity ratio. Second of all is leverage ratio. Third is efficiency ratio. And last but not least is profitability ratio. For the liquidity ratio, we have the current ratio, and the formula of current ratio is current assets divided by current liability. And next, for the cash ratio, we can find the cash ratio by count cash plus cash in bank plus marketable security and divided it with current liability. And last, in the liquidity ratio, we have cash ratio. We can find quick ratio with count the current assets minus the inventory and divided it with the current liability. Okay, so second of all, we're gonna talk about the leverage ratio, or mostly known as the solvency ratio. We have debt to asset. So we find debt to asset with count the total debt and divided it with the total asset. And for the debt to equity, the formula of debt equity is divided the total debt and the total equity. So the next ratio is efficiency ratio. In efficiency ratio, we have the inventory turnover, and the formula is sales divided by the inventory. And the second one is receivable turnover. We can find the receivable turnover by divided the sales with the receivable. And last but not least, in the efficiency ratio, we have to count the total asset turnover by divided sales with total asset. And last, in profitable ratio, we have to count the ROA or return of asset by divided earning after tax divided by the total assets and multiply it with 100%. And the next one is ROE or return of equity. We have to find the earning after tax divided by the total equity and multiply it with 100%. And for the net profit margin, the formula of net profit margin is earning after tax divided with sales and multiply it with 100%. Last but not least, and the profitability ratio, we have to count the gross profit margin, and the formula for gross profit margin is gross profit divided by sales and multiply it with 100%. And for the analysis ratio for PT Excel Axiata TBK, the overall data will be the current ratio in 2021 was 0.3070, and in 2022 it decreased to 0.395. Both ratio indicate that the company liquidity position was weak as the ratio is below 1. This suggests the company may face difficulty in meeting its short-term obligations. For the cash ratio in 2021 was 0.127, while in 2022 it decreased to 0.197. Similar to the current ratio, both ratios are below 1, indicating a liquidity challenge for the company. For the quick ratio, or mostly known as asset ratio, in 2021 was 0.288, and in 2022 it increased slightly to 0.380. Although the ratio improved, it's still below 1 and indicating a relative weak liquidity position. And for the solvency ratio, debt to asset ratio in 2021, the ratio was 40.3%, while in 2022 it decreased to 38%. Both ratios are below 100, indicating that the company has a lower proportion of debt compared to its total asset, which is favorable for solvency. And for the debt to equity ratio in 2022, the ratio was 146%, and in 2022 it decreased to 128%. Both ratios are still below 200%. It's suggesting that the company debt level is within a reasonable range compared to its equity. For the inventory turnover, as you can see the data in this slide, this indicates that the company was able to sell its inventory more efficiently in 2021 rather than 2022. And for the receivable turnover, both ratios suggest that company efficiently collect the receivable from its customer. And the total assets turnover, it indicates that the PT Excel Axiata Tbk assets were less efficient in generating sales in 2022 rather than 2021. For the profitability ratio, for the ROA, that suggests the PT Excel Axiata ability to generate profit from its asset declined in 2022. And for the return of equity, indicates a decline in the PT XL Axiata ability to generate profit in relation to its equity. And for the net profit margin, it decreased in the company profitability as the profit margin decreased over the 2-year period. And last but not least, the gross profit margin slight decline, the company maintained a relatively stable gross profit margin. In summary, based on the analysis of 2-year data, PT XL Axiata Tbk face liquidity challenge as indicated by the low current ratio, cash ratio, and also the quick ratio. The company maintained the solvency with a reasonable level of debt in relation to asset and equity, and the efficiency wise with the company show us the better inventory turnover and receivable turnover in 2021. However, in terms of profitability, the company experienced a decline in return of asset and equity, net profit margin, and also the gross profit margin in 2022 rather than 2021. So that's the analysis of ratio for PT XL Axiata Tbk. We hope this information is informative for you, and we hope to see you in the next video. Bye guys!